So what I would like to do before we start is only just have you I already called the case. Just identify yourself for the record.
T.Hinga here from Offit Kurman on behalf of the plaintiff.
And then you state your name. What's your name, sir?
Mr. Pradip Ninala.
Okay. So, Mr. Pradip, what I would like to do is see if, before we start the trial, if we can come to some agreements on things that both sides can agree upon. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to start with their case, what you can agree upon in their case, and then we'll see if they can agree upon anything in your case. Okay? They have claimed that you entered into a lease and that the lease ended. So let me just see if we can agree upon the dates of the lease. What was the date of the lease originally?
The lease term was the 10th day of January 2021 to the 9th day of January 2022.
And then do you agree that that's the date of the written lease? Those are the dates of the written lease that you signed?
I heard January 10, 2018.
2021.
Oh, we're talking about the current lease.
Current lease.
Okay,
current lease.
The current lease, yes,
January
effective
10,
January 10,
2021. And it was going to be valid until January 22nd of 2022.
No, January 9 of 2022.
I'm sorry. Do you agree that that's what the lease itself is that you entered?
Yes, a one-year lease.
Okay. Do you
Yes.
This is what I'm looking for. Do you agree that you are still in the property?
Yes.
You agree to that too. Do you agree that you do not owe any rent currently? Do you owe any rent currently?
I do not owe any rent.
Do you agree with that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Do you dispute that on November 2nd of 2021, they gave you 60 days notice to vacate because that was required by your lease because the lease was expected to terminate by its period as of January 9th? Did you get that notice?
I received a notice on November 2, correct.
Okay. And you agree that that notice gave you 60 days till the end of your lease term?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was lacking. There was something faulty with it.
Okay, what is it that you're claiming was faulty with it? Because I looked at it and I didn't see anything.
Okay. In speaking with lawyers through his story, again, I'm not the lawyer myself, but it was told me they sent me a second 60-day lease.
60-day notice?
60-day notice. They sent the second one November 24th, and on the letter itself, it's backdated fraudulently to November 2.
So you got an initial letter on November 2.
Correct.
And then you
in my mailbox.
Okay, and then you got a second one that you say you received on November 24th, but it was dated back to November 2nd.
November 2.
Are the two letters different in substance?
Yes. Very
okay.
Much
so that's okay. We'll look at that. The first letter that I saw was the November 2 letter, which essentially gave you 60 days but didn't give you a reason for why the termination. It was essentially the end of the lease. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I don't know which November 2 they showed you. They might have showed you the second one. There's two. Now, both are dated November 2.
Okay.
You understand? So we
just
might
tell me. That's fine. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
What's the difference between the two letters so that I can figure out where I need to go with
I
the
have
question?
the copies here.
Let me see them real quick.
Okay.
So nothing's under oath yet. This is me just trying to figure out how we can get to where we need to go to.
Hearing.
As you hand it to the bailiff, tell me which one you actually received on November 2nd, okay?
Which one I received? Let me What I'll do is, in the bottom right is okay if I write a note like number 1, number 2?
Sure.
Okay.
Just do the number 1 first so that we're all on the same page.
Okay, number 1, this is this one. Number 1.
Okay.
And then number 2.
Show time.
And I'm in possession of a third.
You have a third one?
Yes.
Okay, well, show me that
It
one
was
too.
sent
So
to
we
me on
can...
August 17th.
August 17th of this year?
Right.
Okay.
But I don't think it pertains to...
It's not really relevant, but it's
Okay.
fine.
Just want you to be aware.
Okay.
Your Honor. Thank you.
Do you have them both so that you can see?
I mean, I have.
Did you give them both to my bailiff?
Yeah, here, I have.
Okay.
I do not have both, but
But you've seen both now.
I see both.
Let me just look to see if I can figure out the issue. Okay. So the one that you gave me, which you received on November 2nd, tells you that they're giving you 60 days notice because your lease is about to expire. You agree that's what that says?
Essentially, yes. That's
Okay.
what I'm recalling. It's been a while since I've read it.
The second one, which you say you received on November 24th, is the one that I got with the file, which gives you the specifics on when to vacate. And again, although this one gives you the law, as far as
That's
it's fine, it doesn't. It's not going to change. It's not going to change anything because all it does is going to change the 60 days. It's whether it's going to be January 9th or 2 months from November 24th. So that's all it changes. Okay, so both of these are indicating that you're being evicted because your lease is ending and they're not going to renew. Do you
Yes.
agree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
They're essentially saying the same thing.
I'm giving those back to you.
May I, Your Honor, if I may ask, which were you given number 1 or number 2?
I was given the second one.
You were given the second one, not the
Yeah.
first. Okay.
But it doesn't. It only makes a difference now for purposes of when you needed to be evicted by, which is the 60 days from the date you get the notice. So 60 days now from November 24th. Okay? If there is no basis for retaliatory eviction, do you agree then you are a tenant holding over because you no longer have a valid lease?
I understand contracts, and yes, I understand, yes.
Okay.
Except there is a retaliatory.
I understand. So the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because I don't think we need to have a hearing on the tenant holding over portion because everybody agrees to the facts we just put into place. That you had a lease that went from January 10th, 2021 to January 9th, 2022, and that at least by November 24th, you were given a notice that they weren't going to renew your lease, and now you had 60 days to vacate. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So if that was the whole case, we'd be done. I would grant them possession. Okay? You then have a defense to retaliatory eviction. My point to you is that's what the whole case is going to be about today. Because if I find you have a basis for retaliatory eviction, then the issue is, 1, do you get to stay in the premises? Or 2, even if you don't get to stay in the premises, do you get damages?
Yes.
Okay? If I find there's no basis for retaliatory eviction and that they didn't renew your lease appropriately, then they win and judgment is in favor of them. But we don't have to have testimony about that because we've already all agreed on those facts. Does that make sense to you?
There was one other thing that I haven't heard from Your Honor when I was talking to lawyers about. They were saying that because the second notice came on the 24th, you were not given a sufficient notice spanning 2 billing cycles. Is that anything that you agree with?
So that would be correct for purposes if you were standing in front of me on December 1st to if you were standing in front of me on February 1st, because they couldn't have kicked you out before February 1st. You needed 2 full billing cycles. But because we're way past that now, that's a non-issue.
Right. I didn't want to focus on the, insufficient notice.
It's a fair issue.
I didn't want to really focus on that, and I'm fine.
If you were here in January, I would have said the notice was insufficient. They can't kick you out until after February 1. But that's a non-issue now because we're here much later. Okay?
Gotcha.
What I'm proposing to you is that we've all agreed upon their facts that they can prove. So then it's going to switch to you now to prove your case on retaliatory eviction. You have the burden of proof to prove retaliatory eviction. So what we're going to do is place you, and is she on Zoom yet? Do you want to text her?
Yep.
Okay, let me let her text her, and then do you want to talk to her and just tell her where we are?
I just want to make sure that she's received the information and
okay.
At least available if I need to do a testimony.
Right. So let me just finish my sentence to you, and then I'm going to let her talk to her client since we're talking about this all without her client being here. So the way we're going to start the case is we're going to put you under oath, and then you're going to testify first about your basis for retaliatory eviction. And then they will be able to cross-examine you, and then they will be able to put on a witness to dispute your claim. You will then get the last word after their case is done to say anything else that you want to tell me about your claim for retaliatory eviction. Does that make sense?
It does.
Do you have any problems with anything that I've said as far as how we're going to proceed?
Not at all.
Okay. We just have to wait for her client to get on Zoom, okay?
Okay, so we're waiting.
Yeah, you have a seat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Oh, Bobby, can you just give him a bunch of exhibit stickers so he can start marking?
That's what I'm doing now. Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you have anything that you're going to present as evidence?
I need to see the book.
Do you mind if
I have a USB drive.
Okay. Miss Harrell, this is Judge Ferretti. Can you hear me? Or I might still be muted. Is she hearing me through here or the TV? Miss Harrell, you're muted if you hit *6 or unmute if you're on a computer. Sure? Because we're not on the TV. I think she's hearing me through the computer. I'm muted up here. I'm going to see if she can. Let me see if I can mute. Miss Harrell, this is Judge Ferretti. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Okay. Did you tell her everything, or do you need me to read it?
I gave her the overview that we've established that there is a tenant holding over if there is no retaliatory eviction, and that she is listening to his case now as to a retaliatory eviction.
Okay, Miss Harrell, would you mind turning your video on so we can see you? Because what I'm going to do is place you and Mr. Pradip under oath at the same time, so we don't have to do it more than once.
Sir, can you stand up?
Okay, can you stand up, ma'am? We're going to raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly declare or affirm under the penalties of perjury the statements made are responsible to give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Sir?
Oh, so help me God. Jeez.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Ma'am?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, have a seat. If you want to turn yourself on mute until we need you to not, that's okay. You also hear the ground rules for this. You can't record anything that's happening today. You can't in any way take snapshots or screenshots. If you need to talk to your attorney while Mr. Pradip is testifying, you can. You can send her text messages, or if when he's done testifying, you want the opportunity to talk to her before she starts asking you questions, let me know. We can take a break. She'll call you on the phone. Once you start testifying, then she's not allowed to talk to you in any manner, whether it's text messages or anything else, and you can't communicate with her by sending her any notes. Do you understand what I've said?
Yes, I do.
I know she knows all of this, but I just want to reiterate it for the record. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I know she told you how we're going to start. We're just going to start with the the tenant's case, and then you'll be second. Okay?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Pradip, you're already under oath, so you can have a seat or stand, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Can you state your full name, please?
Pradip Daniel Ninala.
And I'm sorry, I was calling you your first name and I didn't mean to. Ninala
Okay.
is your last name.
I don't mind. Ninala last name.
I apologize. Mr. Ninala, at some point in time you had a lease to rent property located at 11215 George Avenue in Wheaton. Is that right?
Georgia Avenue.
Georgia, sorry, I can't even read my handwriting.
And
I gave you
apartment
back the lease.
507.
You agree that you entered into a lease, at least an extra lease or an updated lease as of November 2nd, 2021. Is that right? You entered into an additional lease on November 2nd, 2021, which was a year-long lease.
No, the date is incorrect. It was January 10, 2020.
The lease that you gave me a few minutes ago shows that you had a valid lease. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm reading my notes wrong. You entered into a lease on January 10th of 2021, which is going to be valid through January 9th of 2022.
Correct,
is that correct?
Through January 9, 2022. Correct.
And you received 2 different notices to vacate, which were both dated November 2nd. Is that right?
Yes.
And you showed those to me already. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you have them now? Because I'll take them back from you. I think I gave them back, didn't I? Okay, we're going to mark those as exhibits 1 and 2. Exhibit number 1, which you wrote the 1 on, is the one you said you actually received on November 2nd.
Something got missed. Why did I put number 3? Number 1, this is number 2.
Can you use those? Did my bailiff give you stickers?
Okay,
Just
sure.
use those stickers.
Excellent.
So the one you actually received on November 2nd, that's what you're going to mark as number 1.
Okay, right. That's number 1.
Okay.
That is this one.
And the one that you received on November 24th is number 2.
24th.
Okay.
Received 24th, number 2.
Leading up to November 2nd, so prior to November 2nd, did you have any discussions with the landlord or any representative of the landlord that they were not going to renew your lease prior to the time you got this first letter?
Yes, there were many discussions.
Tell me, start with whatever date you want. When did you have discussions with them about not reviewing your lease first?
Okay. In fact, in order to, I have prepared for this because it's kind of hard to follow with all these dates. I have an outline that I've prepared. It's several pages. If this could help. I also have a visual timeline. Which
let me let you show those to the attorney, because normally I don't take those into evidence. But if she doesn't object and it's going to streamline things, then I might. But if you show them to her, I might be able to take them at their face value.
I don't have a problem giving a copy to the plaintiff.
She's going to look at it real quick, and then we'll decide. Did you give her both to look at?
Oh, no. And then here's the written outline.
Because if she agrees to one or the other, then I can just ask you questions based upon that, okay?
Okay. The landscape picture, the other one's a blow-up with all the detail of the right side. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's the 5-year picture, and then that's focused on the last 2 years.
You don't have to agree. I'm asking if you will.
I don't think I agree. 90% of this is the tenant's conclusions.
Okay.
And
okay.
I don't think I can agree to.
Okay, give it back to him. No, it's okay. Let's see if she can agree to the other one. The reason I can't accept those in the evidence is because the rules don't allow me to take summaries that you've developed unless they're agreed upon. So that's why I'm saying she'll agree first. It doesn't mean you can't talk about what you want to talk about. Just I can't look at the piece of paper, okay? Now, counsel, while you're looking at that one, really just focus on the last 6 months because that's what the relevant part is. 6 months prior to November 2nd.
This says opening.
Okay. I know where to go in case something happens.
Your Honor.
It's okay one way or the other. Don't stress.
No.
Okay, that's
Yep.
okay. Okay. What I want you to focus on now, the events that happened from Okay. What I want you to focus on, and you're going to start with May 2nd. What events occurred from May 2nd through November 2nd of 2021 that you believe form the basis of your claim for a retaliatory eviction?
Okay.
Okay?
I understand.
So those are the dates I want you to focus on for the time being. Fine. May 2nd to November 2nd, because it's 6 months leading up to when you got the notice. So tell me what happened that forms the basis of your claim for retaliatory eviction between May and November of 2021.
It's better if I look at my own outline.
I'm happy for you to do so.
And be very efficient in how I speak to you about this. What this little timeline, it's simply my 5 years at this property, and then this last page zooms in on the last year.
Okay, just look.
That's all
I'm happy for you to look at that and to refresh your recollection.
That's helping me to talk to you and make sure it's efficient. I've been residing here since January 2018. Always my rent on time, perfect. Not a violation notice to my name. I believe the management can verify no violations to my name. Always rent paid on time. So all those things being established, easily verified. 3 years in a row, my lease is renewed, no problem. And it should be noted, I'm a county subsidized individual. I received a substantial subsidy from the county for benefits that I received.
Objection,
housing.
Your Honor, relevance.
I don't know if that's relevant.
Listen to my question again. I'll go back in time if I need to, but for now, the first thing I have to have testimony on is what happens from May of 2021 to November 2nd of 2021. So in your notes, I'm happy for you to refresh your recollection. Go from May and tell me things that occurred that you believe that you're basing your claim for retaliatory eviction. May, no problem. Okay. Everything's copacetic. June, no problem. In June and July June, I'll say, starting in June and July, I started noticing all these birds. I live in a unit that has a communal green area, and we have patios. There's about 7 of our 7 neighborhood patios out in adjoining green area, an open space, communal. And I started seeing birds coming to my window, and what are all these birds? Where are they coming? Why are they coming here? And initially, somebody's feeding these birds. I could never figure out who was feeding them. And then finally in July, I was about to alert the management. Somebody is feeding birds and it needs to stop because it's excessive bird droppings and feces. So the bird droppings are they in a common area or where are they? They're on my patio. The railing, flooring, it's just horrendous. I have pictures, video to this effect. Okay, are they on other people's property or just yours? They're destroying the ones in the direct path. They're all flying to one particular patio to get fed. And in the process, they land on ours. And I have pictures, hundreds of birds at any time of the day coming and going. And I have a picture where there's a video, in one of the video that I have here for the court, about 20 birds sitting on my railing. So tell me what happens in July. Okay, so July, I was about to alert the management. And for the first time in my life, I ran into the actual resident next door to me. I didn't realize anybody was in the next door apartment. And I happened to just randomly bump into her coming out of my apartment. And I had a little discussion with this lady and finding out, you're the new resident in 508. You've been here, and she told me she's been there since December 2020. And now here it is July. And then I say, there's all these birds, and we had a discussion. And then that's when she confessed to me, I'm the one feeding the birds. Her name is Miss Ghazal Omid. Okay. She openly admitted to me she's feeding the birds. And then I said, it's destroying my patio. Simply trying to reason, neighbor to neighbor. I tried just resolving this with the neighbor. Okay. Verbally that one day, 1 or 2 days later, she came to my door with a bottle of a container of Clorox, telling me how I should spend every day an hour or 2 to clean my patio so I can use it every day.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance. This is an action of the landlord.
I'm getting now. Okay, now we get to the point.
Hold on a second. So you try and resolve it with her.
I try to resolve it with her.
What we need to get to
I finally wrote a letter.
You don't resolve it with her, I take it.
It could not resolve.
Okay.
Even I wrote a letter to her, detailing, very polite. Even a county official said, you wrote very respectful, very polite.
Okay.
I have
and
a
so
copy
then
of that.
What do you do after it doesn't resolve?
She ran up to me when I handed, the same day I handed her that letter, she ran to me and she was agitated, very aggressive. Well, who did you show this to? Who did you show this to? And then I said, well, we can't resolve this. I have to tell the management about this because it's not allowed in a communal area.
Did you ultimately tell the management?
I'm sorry?
Did you ultimately tell the management?
Yes.
When
On
did
that
you
same
first...
day, I emailed them the same letter I sent to her. I sent to them and I said, here, and I have that copy here.
Okay, and that email, do you have that?
Yes.
Okay, let me have you mark that as number 3.
In fact, it's part of the OLTA. I'd like to just give you the folder that the complaint I sent to DHCA complaint.
I can't take that. I just need the letter.
The letter.
You can take it apart. It's fine with me.
No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to do that. I have several folders in case you ask for specifics. I have them ready to go. And right here. And you want me to? Do you want the letter I wrote? The letter I wrote to her, or just the management?
Hold on. I want the email you sent to the management with any attachments. Whatever you sent to the management. That's what we're going to mark as number 3.
Bird grievance, Foulger-Pratt. Here's the letter. I believe this is everything, Your Honor.
Okay.
August 10, Tuesday, nevertheless, in case. And bird distress PDF. Please carefully note.
Do me a favor.
I believe this is it. I believe this is the email that has. You're asking something specific about what letter did I send to the.
Well, because you're saying you having a conversation with them and you're making a complaint to them.
Right.
Right. Okay. So let me have you mark that whole package as number 3, and then my bailiff is going to give it to the attorney. And while she looks at it, I'm going to ask her a couple other questions because she can multitask.
Okay. So this is number 3.
Prior to that email that you sent complaining about the bird issue, had you ever made any complaints to management before? In the 3 years?
About this?
About anything.
Oh,
Had you made complaints before?
I have. The previous resident prior to that.
The previous resident in the same place? In the same apartment?
In the same apartment. The previous resident flooded my apartment.
Okay.
Twice in less than about 2 months' time.
Had they ever attempted... Well, when did you send those prior letters?
Oh, that would have been back between April 2020 and October, November 2020. This is all happening prior to the.
And they renewed your lease in January of 2021.
Right.
Okay.
And I was in communication with Offit Kurman through that whole issue. They were involved.
And you resolved all of those issues as far as the flooding?
Yes.
Okay. Any other complaints that you had sent while you lived there leading up to the bird issue?
Nothing immediately. You know that from the time that the lady who flooded, there was like 7 months of just quiet and peace. Me regaining my no.
Okay.
It was just simple maintenance things that might pop up.
All right. Then you send. Oh, let me let her finish looking at the email.
Excuse me, Your Honor. There's this. This would have been attached to that.
That's fine. Hand it over to her. It's okay.
It refers to PDFs attached, and this would have been attached to it.
Okay.
So that should be part of it.
That should be part of it. in 411? You're not allowed to talk to him during it, okay? If we take a break, even then, I'm not supposed to talk to a witness who's testifying.
Your Honor, if I may say, these are my parents.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Ninala, and this is a county official, my official, what they say, HIP. I manage my HIP, and she's a case manager for HIP. They've been here since 9 a.m., Your Honor.
Yeah, I know that you couldn't see the first judge, and the second judge was trying to get to you, but he then had a whole docket, so I said I would take it because my morning finished.
I appreciate it, Your Honor.
It was better than making you wait in there, because you might still be waiting.
Yes, thank you. It was needed, much needed.
All right, Your Honor. I do not object to the email, which is what is at issue, is the August 10th email, which is the last 2 pages. The other covers a period of 2 weeks and references continued interactions with the neighbor, which have nothing to do with the landlord.
Okay, but he's saying he sent it all to you, so
Yes.
I'm going to admit it. Understanding that it's going to be, can you get that last page, Robbie?
Oh, I apologize. I missed this one.
That's right. Exhibit number 1 will be admitted as communications that were sent from the tenant to the landlord in August of 2021.
Okay, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Mr. Ninala, what I'm going to do now is look at these documents, and then I'm going to see if I have any questions for you based upon these documents, okay?
Okay.
So these go in reverse order, so I'm going to start at the end because the emails start in earlier in August. The first email that you sent, looking at your exhibit number 3, was dated August 10th of 2021, and it was sent, well, I can't see who it was sent to. It says Bird Distress. Can you tell me who that was sent to? It's all confidential, so it's all X'd out. And it says, M, please see PDF document attached as requested. Texted to new lady in apartment 508. It's the very last text in this.
That would have been a private message probably to my family, letting them know that something's going on.
That's fine.
They have the attachment.
Then
M would be mother.
Okay, the next thing I see is an email dated Friday, November 13th from you to a series of people, including K.Gibney. Who is Miss Gibney?
Oh, dear. K.Gibney.
Or Nicole Schultz. They're all
yes, because
Foulger-Pratt.
we're talking about back then.
Yeah, these are all people.
I need to let you know, there was a transition in ownership and management.
That's okay. All of these people were at Foulger-Pratt, right?
Right.
Okay.
And they were.
And your purpose was to sending this email on August 13th was to notify management of the issue. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, God. Right.
You're letting them know about an exchange with the resident.
Look at the timeline.
It's August 13th at 4:33 p.m. And you're suggesting that it's a hazard. You're asking them to talk to the resident without implicating you. That's not the first email, sorry. There was a first email, dated at 3:18 to the Foulger-Pratt people where you have said, please see printout of your records as well as the PDF photo. This is a serious health hazard to myself and all surrounding neighbors. And you're talking about I strongly believe that any religious tradition that infringes on the health or welfare of another individual, especially in a communal living situation, cannot be tolerated. And you're notifying her and giving her the picture of the bird droppings, right?
Right, that has.
She then responds by saying, the resident has a right to feed their birds. There's nothing in the lease that states otherwise. I will speak to her and ask her not to do so, but it's not a violation. You got that email response, right?
Who's that coming from? Is that from
K.Gibney,
correct?
Okay.
And that's what the resident, is it dated August 13, 3:41 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the one.
You then responded again to her, dated...
No, I would not have. I went straight to the management above her.
You then responded to include her.
Oh, right.
And a bunch of other people
Sure.
at 4:33.
She would have been copied.
Indicating that you had received her message and that you're reiterating you believe this is a concern to your health, right? That's
yes.
What it says.
And I maybe the wording is not there yet, but it's also a violation of the lease. But I don't know if that wording is in there at this point. Later on, actually, they make the point. They tell me it's a violation. That's coming. And this is where...
Okay. Then we go to, that's August 13th. Then the next set of emails is on...
Your Honor, may I say one thing about that from Ms. K.Gibney? What she wrote on August 13th, she also apparently said it to the resident 508.
Okay.
And what she has done, she has instructed the resident 508 to actually violate the lease. That's what she has done.
Okay. The next thing it says is at 11:44 on August 16th is the next series of emails that I see. Do you agree with that?
You have to repeat that, Your Honor.
Sure. The next email that I see is dated August 16th at 11:44 a.m.
Okay.
And it's to... The next set of emails is dated August 19th, where you're detailing a series of events that has happened since August 13th. That email was sent to Nicole Schultz and a bunch of other people at Foulger-Pratt.
Yes.
In that you are saying time is of the essence. You're talking about an exchange on August 16th. That thank you for confirming with me that feeding the birds from a resident's own apartment patio is not a tenant right, nor protected under any lease. Yes, it's not illegal, it's just not a tenant right. They're saying they have a right to do it, but they're not saying specifically yet that it's illegal. That might be coming. I don't know.
I have a copy of that page in the lease.
I'll come to it. Okay?
Yes.
And then there was a series of peace orders filed, right?
Who
filed a peace order against who?
The resident filed a peace order against me based on the advice and privacy violations against myself by Ms. K.Gibney.
And the peace order was denied, right?
No, I had to appear in court.
I know.
appeared in
when
court,
you
and
appeared
when I
in
went
court,
there,
was it granted or denied?
the resident did not show up, and it was dismissed.
Okay, so it's
Judgment
dismissed,
of
so it's
acquittal.
not a peace order in place.
It's still on the record.
It's irrelevant. You can get it shielded. If it was denied, you can request that it be shielded and nobody in the public can see it.
No, I understand. I'm in
Okay.
the process of trying to get those things done. But it was horrible going through that situation.
We object, Your
And
Honor.
The next thing that she sends you is a copy of your lease. That's the whole set of emails that I went through here. Now, tell me whether it's a violation of her lease or not. It's not really irrelevant. It's not relevant specifically to me, but then the next thing I see, which you attached, was a memorandum dated Tuesday, August 10th, a friendly reminder regarding feeding causing distress. This is from you to your neighbor, right? That's what you sent to her that was very cordial and nice.
Yes, that was August 12th.
Yes.
My first contact to the management was actually August 3rd.
Right. So after they confirm for you that it's not illegal, but she's not allowed to do it either, what's the next thing that happens after August 16th with the landlord?
After August 16th. Okay. Let's come back to what is written. After August 16, peaceful order. August 16, I'm preparing for that court on August 23rd. I appear in court, dismissed. After that week was just gone, evaporated 45 hours of my life preparing for that defense.
Objection, Your Honor.
It's not relevant. I get it. Keep going.
And which
It's not relevant
clear.
to. It has something to do with an eviction.
Okay, right.
Okay,
Let's
that's what
move
we're here
on.
about.
I agree.
So tell me what happens. What's the next thing related to why you say this is a retaliatory eviction after the series of emails on August 19th?
I saw the management give the lady next door several, at least two that I know of, violation notices.
Okay.
She's disregarding the violation notices. Now we come to September 14, 2021. There's a transition in ownership and management. No longer Foulger-Pratt. Now we're dealing with FPA. And at
So
that
September
time,
21st of 2000.
September 14, 2021.
Okay, so let's see if everybody agrees. It went from Foulger-Pratt to a new landlord.
It was a new management company, Your Honor.
New owner.
Was Foulger-Pratt the owner or the management company?
I believe it may have been a new owner as well. I apologize. I know it was a new management company.
FPA, is FPA owned by Foulger-Pratt?
FPA WC Wheaton Station. Was that what it was called before?
It was called Wheaton Holdings.
Okay, so your initial lease was with Wheaton.
I have a page that shows details all the
It was
records.
Wheaton Metro
Holdings, if you
Residential
want that.
Holdings doing business as the Exchange was the original lease.
Name of the property.
Right.
Foulger-Pratt was the residential, was the original management. I believe both changed at that point to FPA WC Wheaton.
What's FPA stand for?
It's the LLC name, FPA WC Wheaton
Is it
Station.
Foulger-Pratt? Is it affiliated with Foulger-Pratt? Or is it not just a new entity altogether? Okay, I'll come back to you. Was your
I don't. My
understanding-
research believes what I researched. They're not related.
Okay, so there becomes a new owner and a new manager in September of 2021, right?
September 14, 2021. Correct.
And the new owner is now FPA WC Wheaton Station.
Correct.
And who is the manager, to your understanding?
It's a management company called Trinity Property Consultants.
Following
And that was Christine Kim.
Following September 14th, what are your interactions with this new management company?
I have that series of emails right there.
Okay, and I'm ready. Tell me what it is.
Were you asking me for a date or something? Are you?
Following, you said that September 14th, 2021, there was the property sold, and now there's a new management company.
My plan
what I'm
is
now asking you about is, what were your dealings with the new management company or owner following September 14th?
First 2 weeks, nothing. I wanted to let new people, leave them alone. Don't talk to them about all this trouble I'm dealing with. But when I saw the same day they moved in, I saw resident 508 talking to the property manager. That's all. I can't really testify. It looks serious. Anyhow,
okay, just tell me what
now,
you're dealing with.
2 weeks later, it was around the 23rd, 27th.
So now we're
Monday,
in October or September?
Still September.
Okay.
And Mrs. Ninala, my mother, by birth, she was with me that day. We see all these birds coming to her patio and flying at our window, and we run. Okay, now's the time. We got to go tell the manager. We got.
So
video.
now you're going to notify the new manager.
We both went to her office, sat with her for at least 30 minutes, and discussed the whole issue that's been carrying over from the previous owner and management.
Okay.
And that
and
would
what
have
was
been.
her response?
I have the dates.
What was that manager's response to your complaint?
She's going to look into it. And we had a follow-up meeting 2 or 3 days later.
So by the end of September, you have a follow-up meeting.
Right.
And what happens at that follow-up meeting? And this is a meeting with the new manager. Yes,
new manager, K.Kim, Trinity Property Consultants.
Okay, what happens with that meeting?
She says, I've spoken with the resident. She says she's not feeding the birds. We're not going to do anything. We're not. We asked her, did you send any violation notices to her? She says, no. And then she's talking about privacy.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Well, it's your client. Yeah. So it's statements of a party.
Fair.
Okay, so she says to you, we're not doing anything about it because we've talked to her, she's denying feeding the birds. You ask her if they now have sent any notices to her, and she says no.
Correct.
Okay, what's the next
interaction?
And
she's not planning to.
Okay.
She even went on further
to say.
Well,
if she doesn't have proof that she's doing it.
I understand.
So far, we're on the same page.
Yes.
Tell me what happens after the end of September. The next interaction.
End of September. Basically, everything goes. What are we going to do? We can't get this. Nobody's doing anything. I can't use the patio. This discussion is going on with my family. Then comes all of a sudden October.
Your discussions with other people not really relevant to you. What I want to know is what happens with the management company.
I appreciate some latitude, Your Honor, on this because I'm trying to get to what you're asking and be direct. Your question was
what is the next interaction with the management company?
Is I believe it's this email right here.
Okay, what state is that?
Let me see. I have. There's sometimes two separate histories, and I want to make sure I give you the right one pertaining to what you're asking. And I think I have a 12-page email history, and I have a 7-page. This one. To Ms. Creed, dated October 19. That's really the one I have to... I had written to her emails detailing our discussions in person. And maybe that's what you really have to have. You really need to have those discussions where you're saying you're not going to do anything. We've told you what's happening and you're not going to do anything. So I have all that documented. And let's see. Yeah, here it is. Mr. Ninala... hello, Ms. Kim. Thank you for meeting with myself and my mother.
Just show me what you want me to look at.
This is everything about that meeting, initial meeting we had. I think that's important for me to have.
I'm happy to look at it. This
and
is
then it details the dates we met.
This is exhibit number 4. You're going to give it to the attorney.
Then we'll move on to what comes next, and that's the serious retaliation. So this is establishing that we're having just simple talks. Excuse me, can you tell me the date at what it starts with? I'm sorry, I should have done
I'll do it on the record. It's fine.
Okay.
Let her look through it, and then I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime you want to sit down and just remind me, you don't have to stand.
I appreciate it. Standing helps me actually think a little better. I do. It'll sit when I
Whenever you want.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the bailiff giving me this chair. It's really helpful. I'm also trying to keep these things organized so that when you ask, I'm ready. And I can see things are floating around.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is after the email exchange in September, you're going to go to the next thing. Okay, so get that ready while
That's
she's
what I'm
looking.
having ready right now.
Okay.
That's why I'm standing right now, too. I know where you're heading, and I believe I have it. Let's put this away. I would, at some point, Your Honor, I would like to put this in the exhibit as the page 5 of the actual lease that I have, where it talks about you must not feed stray or wild animals in the apartment community.
Okay.
I'd like to put a sticker on it right now.
Yep, put that on as number 6.
Oh, okay. I think this is 4. So put this as 6?
Oh, sorry. I thought I already had
4. Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry, 5. Put that as 5.
Okay. Oh, thank you. And I have the whole lease if you want it.
We'll see if we need it.
52 pages. Your Honor, I believe it's important at some point if you would look at the 4-minute video I have of the birds and how they're.
So what the birds are doing isn't really
germane
to whether what they're doing in response.
Okay.
It goes. So when you say this is what you're complaining about, I take that at face value. Okay. So I don't really need to see it because I'm taking it at face value that it's true.
There's something about the visual when you see it and what's happening. When you see
even if it's the worst thing I've ever seen, and I'm going to assume it's disgusting. I'm already making that as a finding in my head, so that's why I don't really need to see it.
And it's not inhabitable. I haven't used that patio in 16 months. I don't even sit at my sliding door anymore.
Okay.
I can't open my window. All those things.
I don't know why you're still living there, but okay, I'd move.
You know, I hear what you're saying. I have a really good reason why I'm not.
Okay, well, it doesn't make a difference, but
there's really good reasons. And also, the pandemic. It's not a time to move.
Oh, we're not in a pandemic anymore. Ask Joe Biden.
No, I will not. I have my own opinion on it, and I watch. Thank you, Your Honor. I found in life I'm my best known advisor. And I have counselors. I always listen to everyone around me. There you go.
Bubba.
You good?
Yeah.
As long as they're the emails and they're accurate, I'm just going to accept them. And you'll be able to cross. Sorry. Thanks, bye. Okay, exhibit number 4 is a series of emails that are from October of 2021. They begin actually on September 20th.
That must be pointing towards.
Just give me a second.
What day was that? September 20?
I don't know.
September 20th. I thought it would be.
It doesn't say like. September 20th is an email that says from you to Marlena saying much message received, much appreciated.
I wanted to start sending emails. They have a system where a communal email. I didn't want to embarrass Ms. Kim.
So then there's an email dated September 28th from you to Ms. Kim. Thank you for meeting with myself and my mother. And basically you're summarizing what you already told me happened in the meeting in person.
Yes. I do this. I function like a court recorder.
Then she responds to you on September 29th asking for another meeting to try and resolve the issues. Then there's an email following September 29th at 8:25 a.m. at 1:51 p.m. from you to Miss Hawkins.
Miss Hawkins is the lady sitting here in court.
Right. She's trying to assist you in trying to resolve these issues. I'm not going to read that one because I don't think it's relevant. Then that whole series of, I just skipped over those. Then the next thing we have is she's confirming that she also talked to Miss Kim. You had asked that she move to a different apartment. She didn't agree. And that no eviction proceedings were initiated against her.
I misheard what you just said there.
There was some discussion about trying to get her to move to a different apartment.
Get the neighbor?
Well, 508 to move to a different apartment.
Yes, I'm asking.
I know.
Okay,
and they're saying that's not going to happen.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
I'm just confirming.
I was saying she can't be reasoned, but she needs to be removed. Everybody's being disrupted by this thing. It's horrible.
So these are all now still, the rest of the emails are a series of emails between you and Ms. Hawkins, which I don't think are relevant other than to suggest they're consistent with what you already testified to, so I don't need to read into the record more about that. Exhibit number 5 is a copy of the one page of the lease. If you want them to put the whole lease in, I don't really need it because I think we've already agreed everything.
I have it here too, so.
But you agree that the lease says...
Page 5.
Page 5, no animals, including mammals, reptiles, birds, fish, rodents, and insects are allowed, even separately, anywhere in the apartment or the apartment community, unless we are authorized in writing. If we allow an animal, you will sign a separate animal addendum. We will, blah, 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 blah. You must not feed stray or wild animals in the apartment community. Okay, we know that that's what it says. That's the basis of you saying that she shouldn't be able to feed these birds.
If Your Honor, please, Your Honor, if you could read the circled one at the top.
I did.
Oh, you read that at the top? I think you jumped to the...
You're talking about they may not engage in those activities either. That disturb or threaten the rights or comfort, health, safety. I know that's a valid lease. The lease is stated all the time. I already know that's valid. So you are saying you have a valid reason for why you think she should be evicted, and so far they're taking the position that they're not going to do anything about it because she says that she's not doing any of those things. Tell me then, after your discussions in September, early October, what's the next thing that happens with the management company?
Okay. And I believe that's what I have ready for you here. I want to double check. At the point that I'm discussing with the county official, trying to get counsel, how do you proceed with something of this nature? It doesn't look like anybody's helping me. I'm hearing something about DHCA, you got to file a complaint in those time periods. Who has time for this? But I'm thinking, so now it comes to late September. HIP's case manager, I'm having a conversation.
Just tell me what your next. Here's the thing. You just need to tell me your interaction, not how you got to it, because it doesn't make a difference how you got there. What did you do as far as your interactions with the management company, or what were the management company's interactions with you? That's what the whole case is. What they did and what you did. Not what HIP did or HIP advised you to do. Because I'm not saying anything. It doesn't make a difference whether you did something right or wrong.
I received a threat.
Tell me what you did. Tell me what happened.
Again, I'm trying to establish. It came through the case manager. The case manager told me that if you...
The case manager from HIP?
From HIP. The woman sitting in the court today. Same woman, sitting with Christine Kim, is telling me, I spoke with Ms. Kim and we had talked about your situation. I said, and then I was asking, why did Christine Kim talk to you about my private business?
Well, because you're including her on emails. It doesn't make a difference.
Emails is one thing. And
it doesn't make a difference. Tell me what you took as a threat. What do you contend? Who's she?
Christine, I heard through the third party, Christine Kim is going to evict me, not renew, my lease or resident 508 if we don't resolve this issue.
Okay.
And then I started emailing to Ms. Kim, number one, why are you talking to someone else?
I don't care about that. Tell me about the email exchanges.
I have the email.
Show me the email exchanges where there's this discussion about the threat to not renew.
And this starts on October 19 when I first tried to confirm, is this true? And we're at
just give me the 6. Yep,
Your Honor,
6.
The quote-unquote threat not to renew had to do with him placing a camera in that base.
Okay, we're going to look at it. So let's see what it says.
I mean, it's just not...
And you can ask him questions about it too, obviously. But he's saying if what he believes is they were threatening not to renew if he didn't resolve the issue with her, with the 508 neighbor. So let's see what the documents say. While she's looking, does the 508 neighbor still live there?
Yes. And still, I have videos for today. There are hundreds coming every day.
That's not my question.
Right.
She still lives there. She hasn't been evicted.
Yes.
To your knowledge.
I would like the court to ask if any violation notices have been given to her.
It doesn't make a difference to me.
Oh.
Well, it might, in a little bit, make a difference. It depends. So let me just see what happens. While she's looking at that, why don't you get me the video of the birds?
Oh. Now I have it. I'd love for it to be on the big screen, but I also have it on this tablet.
Okay, she's going to have to see it. So just bring it up so she can see it, unless you've already seen it.
And it's the one, there's individual dates. The file names start with dates.
I just need one.
I know, I'm trying to.
Pick whichever one you want me to look at.
Ninala. That's the one who, it's at the top. Good.
Okay, she's going to have to see it first, so let her finish looking.
It's a 4-minute video, and it has 5 different clips on it from different days, spanning from last year all the way to now. All the way to now. And I showed...
Just hold on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me look at this. While I'm looking at this, can you look at his video? Or you need to?
Sure.
Okay. What I'm looking at is defendant's number 6, which is a series of emails.
P9L at the top. That's my first.
Dating back
P9L.
to October 4th.
October 4th?
Yeah, sure. 2021, on Monday.
Roughly.
That's right. It was sent on October 19th, referencing an October 4th conversation.
Yeah, I was careful not to approach with accusation.
In this, you indicate to her that you had been told that you would be, if the troublesome issues, problems between yourself and Ms. Omid were not resolved, that you would consider not renewing the lease. That's the email that you sent to her on October 19th.
Right. Please confirm this is what I heard is true, that you said about me.
Just a second. She responds by saying, on October 25th, she shockingly doesn't confirm or deny that she made those threats. I'll take that as a confirmation, likely, but we'll see. She doesn't respond to your request for the confirmation. You then send her another email on October 7th, basically saying what I just said, that she chose her words very carefully and didn't admit or deny the conversation. Then she sends back on October 27th saying that she denies the allegation and that you no longer can email her.
I'm sorry?
And that you no longer can email her.
Correct. She's shutting down communication.
I understand. And significantly, she says you can't email her about anything other than maintenance requests or other requests pertaining to her apartment or the property itself. But you certainly can revisit the GEL, whatever that's for.
Put gel on my patio
for the birds,
to
right?
repel the birds.
So she's telling you what to do for the birds, but she's telling you can't talk to her anymore, other than the same things you're already talking to her about. That's not Miss Kim, is it?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No, I wanted to subpoena her.
Yeah, well, you don't need to, because this is plenty of information. Okay, that email was on October 27th. Then the next email is dated November 12th from you to her. Where you talk about your notice of non-renewal.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Notice of renewal? Okay.
Notice of non-renewal. So you've now gotten the notice. You're confirming with her that you got the notice and that you're explaining to her that you didn't intend to move. And you're suggesting to her that she's forcing you to do so.
Against my will and desire.
Well, your will and desire isn't really a factor.
Remember the Alamo, they say.
She then responds to you on November 15th, indicating to you that the non-renewal decision, that they don't need a reason to do it.
Absolutely.
And that they will not renew. Okay, next thing that you want to give me.
They don't need a reason, but we know a reason.
Well, they don't have to have a reason, but that doesn't mean it doesn't take away your retaliatory eviction. I'm looking at the video now, which will mark, but isn't here.
It's listed as P9ala. P9ala, is it starting with the...
I don't know, it was the one that was highlighted.
Is this the one at the balcony room?
Because...
hold on, get me to it, because I already clicked it.
Okay. Yeah, see, there's... Somebody told me that judges don't want to see edited. So I had the 4-minute summary.
Let me see it. Just show me the 4 minutes. I'll read it. I'll look at it.
The individual. I should have put one.
You took this video, is that right?
Documents.
Did you take this video?
Yeah, these are
On
all
what date
videos
did you
I've
take the
taken.
video that you're showing me?
I'm sorry. It's oh, here we are. And click on the one that has my name.
What's the date?
It doesn't. It won't say date. P9ala.
I know. For purposes of getting into
what it
evidence.
does. This 4-minute compilation. It covers August, like 5 different clips from 5 different days, from August all the way through August 2021 through August 2022. And I can get you more if you want currently.
No, I don't need more.
So it's
yeah, I got it.
It's covering one whole year.
I got it.
And showing that it's still going on. And everybody's getting hit. It's horrible.
What floor do you live on?
5th floor.
Oh, the one I clicked was only 1 minute.
And I shudder to think if I'm pushed out, who's going to inherit it?
Yeah, well, that's on them.
It is on me. I was raised to look on the welfare of others and not pass the buck
Just give me
to
a
someone.
second.
I apologize. It runs deep.
In any of this video, is it going to show me her feeding the birds?
No, it will not.
Okay.
It just shows them going to her apartment, patio.
And what floor does she live on?
Now, if you want me to
what
get
floor
you
does
that,
she live on?
she's
Fifth floor
right
too?
next door, 5th floor.
Okay.
All
Do
those
you have,
floors.
outside the 5th floor, is that a grassy area?
It's like
Like a roof?
like a little, it's a high rise, and they have this little roof on
The
the fifth-
rooftop grass.
Right,
Or,
and
okay,
it's like a little breeze.
The average person might just think that's the floor. Or the
I'm
ground.
sorry?
The average person without
I actually
knowing
did
might
think
it's
that
the
was a
ground.
courtyard, Your Honor. Thank you.
Right, it's really nice. It's pleasant. I had plans to put patio furniture out there and cover up the flooring, and I was going to be sitting out there and enjoying what I'm paying for, and I can't.
Okay, I don't need to watch anymore. I knew what it was going
And
to
did you? I hope you saw
I
what's on the railings
I see it.
and that porous flooring.
I saw it.
Praise
I
God.
saw it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
following November 15th email exchange, any more discussions between you and the management company? Feel free to look at your notes.
All right, let me start. Always go back to this outline. Your question is after that time?
After November 15th. Any more?
Sure, there's going to be. We're going to talk about the DHCA complaint. At this point, everybody's telling me you got to get the OLTA, Office of Landlord Tenant Affairs, involved. And so I wrote up what I'm talking to you about, formal.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Because I can't get into really another...
Because she's referenced on it. She got a copy of it.
I know. But my question to you is, did you yourself have any other interactions with the management company?
Sure.
Okay,
Little
what
maintenance
interactions have you
things.
had?
What specifically are you asking
Anything that forms the basis of your retaliatory eviction. Were there any other discussions, incidents that relate to why you think this was a retaliatory eviction?
absolutely. There's all of a sudden. Now notice, we're leaving 2021, we're coming into all of a sudden my ledger, tampering with my ledger, they started hitting me with excessive rents. When I went into the month-to-month,
Right.
they started hitting me with excessive rents.
Well, whatever their rent policy says is what the rent policy says. That's not the basis
Not according
of
to OLTA.
That's not the basis of the claim today.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you're doing. And so they were tampering with all of a sudden my county subsidized checks started going missing.
Okay, did you ever
And
have
not getting
any...
applied on time. And then I started getting late fees and all sorts of things.
I'll come back. Did you have any... I don't think I really need to know about that.
And so I was
Hold on.
constantly writing to them about all of these harassments that are coming to me.
Okay, listen to my next.
Go ahead.
Did you yourself have any interactions with Miss Harrell?
Carol?
Harrell, the person on the video.
Teneka Harrell. Very brief, not too much. And
Did she have anything to do with the bird issues?
okay, now Redtail. She's with Miss Harrell is with Redtail Residential. They took over right at the tail end of March. So at the end of March 2022, this new guy, I never even knew. I found out kind of walking into April, and there's a new company. And then I started finding out, and what I interacted with Miss
so my
Harrell,
question-
I'm going to have a hard time remembering my interactions with
Well,
Miss
she
Harrell.
wasn't there between
She's the area manager.
She wasn't there between May of 2021 and the time you got the notice in November, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It was not
Okay.
completely different management company.
Okay. You told me earlier that you got another notice to vacate, a third notice, right?
Yes. Between when I met you the first time, August 3rd, and August 24, my continuance, I received August 17, I have a third.
Okay. Who did you get that notice to vacate from?
That's coming from, I believe, Redtail.
And do you have that with you?
Yes, that's right. I guess that's exhibit. What number?
We're on 8.
I've been trying to keep track of it too. 8. August 17, 90-day notice. Expires November 30. I have no complaint with this one.
So you're going to get out by what they say?
Well, when I say no complaint, it's valid and there's no, it's not insufficient notice. Clearly sufficient notice.
So when does that say you have to be out by?
November 30.
Are you going to plan to be out by November 30?
I have no plans to move. Because the retaliation still stands November 30. It does for me.
That doesn't.
And
They're a new management company. But okay.
I understand
And
what's going on.
This wasn't within 6 months of any bird issue.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a seat for a second.
Sure.
I need a proffer, because I don't know how she can possibly testify. She's not even affiliated with the prior management company.
May I ask questions?
Oh, yeah, but just give me a proffer first. How is she going to testify to anything?
She's testifying to the business records, Your Honor.
I mean, there's no dispute about what these...
No, but the dispute, because, so a cease and desist was issued at this point.
At what point?
I believe it was part of his...
I stopped at March. I didn't go further.
Okay.
I haven't.
I don't need it because we're only talking about the 6 months leading up to November.
Yes.
So the issue is, were those notices, was it considered a retaliatory eviction as of November? Anything that happens after November, other than when we get to whether or not this is now a proper eviction, it's not a non-issue.
Honestly, I don't believe I need her to testify to anything because I just need to ask him questions to clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
She's going to ask you some questions, and then I think we'll be able to make a decision because I don't think she can say anything.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned the dispute between the two of you.
Yes.
The two of you, because there's lots of two of you.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yourself and the resident in 508, I believe, is...
Do you have her name? Ghazal Omid.
Omid, Miss Omid.
Okay.
Omid. I know it is. Omid.
I'm 507, 508 versus 508. Okay.
In the course of the time that you had a conflict with her, blah it down. How many emails do you think did you send to the management company, her, or the lawyers involved?
How many emails you're asking me?
Mm-hmm.
To 508?
No, to any.
How many emails in general did you send to any of these people? The person in 508, the manager, or to the lawyers for the company in between the May?
The May and
November.
May, November 2020.
She's asking to approximate between May of 2021 and November of 2021.
21. How many?
Yeah.
Easily more than 10.
Okay, well, I think
I don't know.
solely the ones you've given are
for...
more like 20 to 30. So how many did you give in total? There's no emails in the record as of now to the law firm. How many emails did you send in total to any of those parties?
If you know.
There's no way for me to answer this question. You're
okay,
asking
so
for a
can
number.
you,
I cannot
what
give you a number.
You put a number on it and say, is it at least this many?
50, 100, 200, 300.
I am not able to answer your question. I'm not sure.
Your Honor, one of the things I can personally proffer to as...
Oh, I believe it. There's at least 50.
Hundreds.
Okay.
Melinda Macbeth, Todd, etc.
That's right. She's going to proffer it.
Yeah.
I apologize.
You don't even need to say anything because I don't really care. Keep going.
The cease and desist. A cease and desist was issued.
Ask him that question.
Okay.
No, don't tell me. Ask him.
Was a cease and desist sent to you by Offit Kurman due to the number of emails and continued harassment to both our firm as well as the management office?
On what date?
No, it was sent directly. The timeline is very clear.
Hold on a second. No. When was this? You have to give him a date, time frame, because whether it's relevant or not.
Those two documents.
Hold on, I'm holding you.
Whether
it's relevant or not, it depends on the time frame.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Sorry, I believe there was multiple cease and desist sent, so I need to find the correct one.
Whichever. Frankly, if there isn't any between May and November, I don't really care. It's not relevant.
I believe there is. That's the problem, Your Honor. Give me one moment.
No problem.
That's where lawyers.
Let him. She's going to show it to you and ask if this is true.
On my timeline.
Oh, okay.
Let her ask you. How about if I ask you this? On what date did you get, if you know, the first cease and desist letter from the law firm?
From the law firm specifically, this April 14th,
Of what year?
2022.
Okay.
Oh, I apologize, Your Honor, and then I
That's
saw
all
this
right.
later. After the number of emails you had sent as part of the record, the management asked you to stop contacting them.
Well, that was part of the...
You have loaded your question immediately, and it was not... what was the word you used? Numerous? Number? Many? What?
Rephrase your question.
You were told by the management office to...
And put a time frame on it.
The management office asked you in one of your emails to stop contacting them unless there was a maintenance concern, etc. Is that correct?
I do recall this. That's what I do.
Okay. And
I don't bother people.
Okay. And how many emails did you send up to that point?
I cannot answer your question factually. Have you counted the emails?
Okay. In this dispute...
If you want, I can...
No, let her... She's going to ask you the next question. Let her ask you the next question.
I'm not offended by the question.
In your dispute with the neighbor, were there any other issues involved?
Oh, from the moment I alerted management, there's been no contact.
Hold on one second.
No contact with my...
Hold on one second. You have to narrowly ask your question because the flood was with the neighbor in the same place.
I understand. I apologize.
I think what you're trying to talk about is just this one person, the bird. We'll call her the bird lady.
Yes. The bird lady.
I don't like to use that term. I
appreciate.
I understand what I say resident 507.
Except there was prior residents in 507, so I'm trying to make a distinction. You're
I
either
know.
call her the bird lady or call her the bird lady.
I'm 507. In private 508. I see what you're saying. That's why I was saying the name.
So now ask the question again.
Did she object to any of your other behaviors or any actions?
Miss Omid?
Yes.
She's never objected to anything I do, as far as I can tell. In the peace order, she lied. Something about stalking.
Well, hold on. Just answer the question.
Did you place a camera on your balcony pointed at her apartment?
Oh, you're going to that.
Yes or no?
That.
On what date?
Do I have to answer this question?
Yes.
I don't
on
mind.
What date?
I don't mind.
On what date did you place the camera aimed only at her apartment?
Yes, I did.
On what date?
It would have been probably October.
Of 2021?
Maybe not even October. It could have been, because I had to order. I didn't know what to order.
Okay. Did that camera pick up anything other than her balcony?
No. In fact, she put a barrier up.
Okay. Was there anything in your lease that precluded you from having cameras on your balcony towards other people's property?
Nobody gave me any notice.
Okay.
Did she object to that camera?
I asked Ms. Kim specifically. You're telling me I can't do something, and then you're trying to enforce it on me. And then she never got back to me.
So the question is, you have to be specific when you say she.
I'm sorry.
Did Ms.
Did the
Naida
resident object
to
you placing a camera pointed at her apartment, which, Your Honor, it's actually, I believe, in the footage that he provided. You can see it's pointed at a glass window.
Yeah, I have no issue. I don't care that he put a camera there. I think he should put a camera there. Because he's trying to catch her doing something that she says she's denying she's doing. He's not catching her in a place of privacy. It's a public place. He's allowed to do it.
That's what I was told by. Did
anybody from the county tell you weren't allowed to do it?
No.
Did your lease tell you?
I was trying to ask, because I always like to do what is right.
Did your lease tell you weren't allowed to do it?
I asked the people who wrote the lease, tell me where it says this. What you're saying, show me where it says.
Did any law enforcement officer tell you weren't allowed to do it?
No.
Go ahead.
Moreover, I did it because
Let her ask the next question.
Kim.
I know why you did it.
Kim pushed me. She said,
I know
unless you resolve, well, how am I supposed to resolve? What am I saying? And I'm trying to figure out, what do you mean resolve? Am I supposed to use, it sounded like Christine was trying to incite me to violence.
Stop. Next question.
Yes.
Did the tenant ever, did that tenant that you had the camera pointed at ever object to the camera being pointed at her windows?
To your knowledge.
We don't talk to each other.
Was it part of the peace order?
We don't. Peace order. No, that came so quick. There was no camera before.
Next question. He doesn't know that she
did that the same week I'm talking. I met her twice.
Stop. He said
it's nonsense.
He's never talked to her about it.
Okay.
I had no communication with her.
Did you communicate with the landlord that she objected to your behavior?
No. Did the landlord communicate to you that she objected to that camera?
I handed that. It's exhibit. I believe it's in the exhibit.
So yes,
you were aware that she told the landlord she had concerns about the camera, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
And that was okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that was part of the dispute between the parties, between the parties to the peace order. That was part of your dispute with your neighbor.
Parties to the peace order.
Was the camera issue part of the dispute in the peace order?
Peace order. That was
okay.
The previous
Next question.
manager.
Okay.
No.
And your contact with the please stop. Sorry, I think he probably needs to go out at this time.
I don't mind a recess. I don't mind a recess.
No, that's okay.
I'm a dog. I'm very friendly.
Keep going.
No, it's fine. And as part of and that conversation about the other resident being uncomfortable came prior to the being told that there is a possibility you would not be renewed.
The question is, were you aware of the objection by the neighbor prior to the time that you got the non-renewal letter?
I don't believe so. I don't believe there was any.
Your Honor, I'll direct you to the emails because it's addressed in the emails.
Please.
Okay.
Again,
Exhibit 6. Just a second. Let me look at it.
I'd like to go look to what is written. Why ask me a question if it's written? Tell me what is written.
Just a second.
And let me.
Just let me read for a second.
I'm sorry. I'm talking to myself. This might. Here I'm. Okay, this is me. Yes, clearly we never had this discussion.
Just a second.
We never had this discussion.
I don't see anything in these emails about the camera.
May I have them, Your Honor? Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to go quickly. So
no, I understand.
If you want to point me to it, I'm happy for you to point me to it.
Where's the most recent one?
That's a good thing. I am going to add
Hold
this
on.
to the
Have
list.
a seat. Have a seat for a minute. Because she's standing, I want you to sit, okay?
Okay.
I'll let you stand up when it's your turn again. But we try to not have multiple people standing at the same time. It's a
All right.
safety issue.
Sure, no problem.
Okay? I'll let you stand up again in a minute. Go ahead.
I understand the questions about the camera when I put it in, and that's a good thing to have on the timeline.
Don't worry about it. I mean, you can add whatever you want to your timeline, but
because I'm big on the truth, Your Honor. I love the truth.
just, hey, When it's not your turn to talk,
I
know
apologize.
you talk to yourself all the
I
time,
apologize.
but you have to not talk to yourself because then it leads to people asking other questions. So just be patient for a minute.
I apologize, Your Honor. It's kind of hard to find some of these.
It's okay. Take time.
Patient.
I know, buddy.
You sure you don't want to go take him out? I don't mind. It's fine.
No, it's okay. He's fine.
I also have an answer.
Down. Come here. I apologize, Your Honor. I was in reference to an email with Ms. Hawkins, which I did not leave, about that she was stating that breaking the lease with the addition of the video camera. I had thought that was with the management company, not Ms. Hawkins. So it was shown to be at issue somewhere, just not.
Did you come to believe that you were breaking your lease by having the video camera out? Did anyone ever tell you that?
Not at all. I specifically asked, show me in the lease where I'm making a violation.
So did someone suggest to you that it was a violation?
I believe Ms. Kim did.
And then you told
verbal.
her, show me where it's a violation.
Yes.
And did you ever get a response?
No.
Right. It's not a violation.
Why did the conversation about it being a violation come up? How did that conversation come up? Were you asked to take it down? Did you ask, I want to place it there? How did that conversation come about?
Your Honor, how do I address you?
Ms. Hinga.
Hinga. H-I-N-G-A.
Hinga. What Ms. Hinga is asking me is circumstantial.
Just ask her how it came up. How did the video come up?
Anything I say is circumstantial. It's actually.
Just say it. If you know the answer, tell her how it came up.
Well, I don't.
Okay, then
actually,
that's the
I don't.
answer.
I don't.
He doesn't know.
I know how it happened, but I'm not an actual witness to how it happened.
So you only know
Obviously,
from what someone... Hold on a
obviously,
minute. You know only from what someone else told you.
yeah.
Who was the person?
I only know based on what Ms. Kim is telling me. How does she know there's a camera? When she's
Okay,
not,
what did
she's not back
so
there.
she's allowed to ask you what Ms. Kim told you. What did Ms. Kim tell you about the camera?
What was may I ask your question?
What did Ms. Kim tell you about the camera situation?
Please take it down. Something to that effect. It's written.
Okay.
And I don't want to really...
Did she ever point out to you where in the lease it said you couldn't do that?
No.
Okay,
I asked,
next question.
She would not answer.
Okay.
And the only reason
No. Stop talking.
Your Honor, I think that's what I have, except for closing in a legal question.
Okay, so she's done asking you questions. Now we're at the end of your case, unless there's something else that you want to tell me. Listen to what I'm saying. That you have not already said. I've written everything you've said. So is there anything that you have not told me yet? Or that you want to say in response to what she has said?
Okay. Well, one thing I do want to respond to, a question you asked me earlier, how many emails? I sent one email. That's what I'm going to testify on. My one email starts with notifying the management, and that was where I'm done. No other emails ever would have come to Offit Kurman
No,
or
but
the
they
management
came... She's not
if
asking
they had
about
done their
them.
job.
Right. You're not saying it was one email. It's a series of emails about the same thing that
What
resulted
came
in one
after
email.
that?
I understand. That's what she was asking about, the whole series.
Everything starts with one.
Go with the next
I was done.
Anything else?
And the only other number I can give is that whatever I wrote was sufficient to what was necessary for me to fight for my own rights under law and constitutional law. It was all necessary and needful. So the number is necessary and needful is the answer.
Okay.
Okay, now the other things, you're saying the OLTA, the DHCA is not anything you're interested. The ledger, the fact that my ledger is being I'd be receiving harassment to this day.
Objection, Your Honor. We don't know anything about harassment of a ledger.
It's not an issue because...
And you're asking me to pertain just to that.
Right, the 6 months before you got the notice of eviction.
Pertaining to that time frame, I can't really, nothing is coming to my mind. Let me,
Do you contend there's been any retaliatory eviction related to the new management company?
But are we talking about that time frame now?
Well, I'm talking about now.
I'm wondering why I'm not getting a renewal.
Oh.
I should be getting a renewal from the new company.
The person who this case is...
Why am I not being renewed?
Just a second.
Yes.
Well, because you don't have a valid lease now. That's why. But even if you had a valid one. Who owns the property now? FPA?
FPA.
Yes.
And they still own it, but they have a new management company.
Yes. Red Tail has...
Are you contending that the new management company is doing anything as far as sending you a retaliatory eviction notice?
Your Honor, I'm not on trial for that, I believe. Am I on trial? I don't mind.
You're not on trial. It's your defense. So are you claiming... I'm trying to resolve this, and if you don't want to bring it up as an issue, that's fine. You can file a new lawsuit, I guess. But if we can get it all done today, are you going to claim that the new management company, there's a basis for a retaliatory eviction for the new notice that you got?
And my whole focus was for what I received.
Okay, then we won't deal with that issue. We're not going to deal with that issue.
I have the ledgers. I have the tampering with the ledger
Your
and all those
retaliatory
things.
eviction only relates to the prior management company through November.
And April 14, those notices that I received, cease and desist, those are lies and fabrications against me.
They don't matter to me. I don't care about
those.
those.
So that's why I don't think we're...
Okay.
I think this is just going to be an ongoing thing and I'll have my retaliation defense next time, no problem. If that's what they want to do for the next 10 years, play retaliation defense.
I guess you'll see after November.
I'm going
to have a seat. I don't need you to say anything else. I'm going to let you argue.
Yep. Your Honor, the retaliation is a very limited scope.
6 months, specifically 8-208.1 says a landlord may not take an action that's listed under paragraph 1 of this subsection for the following reasons. Because the tenant or the tenant agents has provided written or actual notice of a good faith complaint about the alleged violation of the lease, or a condition that the lease premises that there was a substantial threat to health, safety, or occupants to the landlord. So that's number 1. Then, and it's because the tenant or tenant's agent has, another one, has filed a lawsuit against the landlord. We don't have that. Has testified in a lawsuit involving the landlord. We don't have that. Or there was a threat to end the lease based upon his complaints. That's the issue. Those are the issues. Tell me why you don't think it's retaliatory.
Because, Your Honor, an issue of a bird and a dispute between tenants, none of the, as you've noted, none of the issues of what the tenant filed in as a peace order, the interactions between the two tenants, none of that was actioned by the landlord. And this part, the landlord is allowed to end a lease. He complained of a tenant that was addressed by the landlord when they asked them to stop feeding the birds. I believe, as he noted, multiple violation letters were given. The concern was addressed by the landlord. A tenant cannot require that a landlord evict somebody. They addressed the concern, and by talking to the tenant, as noted by the emails, as giving the tenant notice violations, or a notice of violations that she cannot feed the wild animals. And then I understand that there continued to be dispute over this, but the landlord asked him to stop contacting them. You can end the lease because the landlord gets hundreds of emails if they're not in good faith. Long emails, lots of emails over and over again is not in good faith. There are things that can be done. None of those things were done leading up to this. The DCHA complaint that he's talking about wasn't done until after the notice was issued. This was not in response to him taking his advantage of the legal aspects that he was able to do in order to satisfy a health problem. At this point, we do not feel, the landlord does not feel that this was retaliatory because of a complaint of a bird issue. This is what they feel was a tenant continuing to harass them and sending them emails after very long emails, which they asked him to stop, and then issued a non-renewal notice.
Okay.
The landlords did as much as they can to control the actions of another tenant, but the tenant's actions are not part of the landlord's responsibilities to that extent.
Okay. Courts had an opportunity to hear testimony from the tenant as well as the representations of the landlord. The court, as indicated, does believe that this lease was set to expire in January of 2022 and that the landlord gave 60 days notice. The only defense to that claim would be if there was a retaliatory eviction. In order to establish a retaliatory eviction under 8-208.1, for any reason listed in paragraph 2 of this section, a landlord of any residential property may not bring or threaten to bring an action for possession against the tenant. They did bring an action against the tenant for possession. and they cannot terminate a periodic tenancy. They didn't terminate a periodic tenancy, but they did bring an action. And they cannot do other things. If that action, threaten to bring an action for possession against a tenant, and they didn't renew, were based upon the tenant having a good faith complaint about an alleged violation of the lease, which related to a substantial threat to the health safety of the occupants to the land, as long as they've made that complaint to the landlord, or if the tenant files a complaint against the landlord, which they did not do, then the court can find that there is a retaliatory eviction. The court does not have to find that it's the reason for the eviction. It just has to find that it's a reason for the eviction. So even if, not being disrespectful, even if he was being a royal pain, and that was a reason for the eviction, if I find that a retaliatory eviction for other reasons is a reason, then it can be considered a retaliatory eviction. In this case, the tenant has shown that the lease requires that occupants and guests may not engage in the following activities: disturbing or threatening the rights, comforts, safety, or convenience of others, having birds poop on your property constantly, the court potentially could find is a hazard to health, but also if it's being caused by something that another person is doing, then it's causing inconvenience and the right to not disturbing their own right to their comfort. The evidence is such that, and this court believes that the neighbor was feeding the birds, and that's why the birds keep coming back. So when she denies what she never denied, except for once, but she admitted it, because there's no reason that they would be coming back unless someone's feeding them. And for the landlord to do nothing is not appropriate. So with the landlord doing nothing, it's appropriate for him to then, meaning the tenant in 507, to continue taking action to try and get his problems resolved. The videos, and I didn't even need to see the videos because we wouldn't be here if it was an incident of bird poop, are disgusting. And I would feel the same way that he felt if I was living there, if there was a way to prevent it, which is not enforcing your own rules that say you must not feed stray or wild animals, which could be considered birds. The landlord is not enforcing that. I didn't need to see the video, frankly, because I had enough of the pictures, and I could see the pictures. It was disgusting in and of itself. So that leads me to, he does have a good faith complaint that they're doing nothing about. Those good faith complaints were made within 6 months of the letter coming. Interestingly, the letter was sent 2 times. Why? Because they knew they were evicting him improperly, and they knew it was retaliatory. So then they realized that they didn't have a reason in the letter. The landlord wants to say it's because he's being a nuisance by sending all of these emails. That's not what they said in their letter. They weren't saying that they were evicting him because of what he was doing. They were saying it was because they didn't need to have a reason, and the lease was ending. I firmly believe that the landlord has a right to end the lease, except when it's in a retaliatory way. Here's a guy who never not pays rent, who there's no evidence to suggest that he's done anything else other than complain about this bird situation in the 6 months leading up to. There's nothing to suggest that they should have a right to end his lease. They've renewed it, and then suddenly they're not renewing it. And then we have the email exchanges where it's clear from Miss Kim that Miss Kim thinks he's a pain, and she doesn't want to deal with him anymore. She doesn't get to do that because she's not addressing his issues. As I said earlier, her lack of response to the first email when she says to him that she threatens to not renew his release, totally believable. She would have said right from the beginning, that never happened. It wasn't until probably she called her lawyer, and her lawyer said, you need to deny this, or that she realized, ooh, I really should have denied that right from the beginning, that she didn't do that. I think that Ms. Kim purposely didn't renew the lease because of the situation with the birds. He had a valid complaint about the birds, and the court finds this was a retaliatory eviction as of November 2021. That has nothing to do with the current notice of eviction. So the court, now the issue is, what are his damages? He's entitled to 3 months of rent. If I find that there's a retaliatory eviction, I do find that this was an attempted retaliatory eviction. What I need you all to have a discussion about, and I'm going to step off, is the way that I'm going to look at this is, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I could potentially see myself giving you 3 months of rent so long as you agree to leave by the new notice date. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to do that, but otherwise we're going to have a hearing on why you're entitled to 3 months of rent for their retaliatory eviction, which has nothing to do with the new manager or the latest August eviction notice. You want to have those discussions?
I was expecting all 6 from here until July. From the
so you
time
can only get 3 months by the statute.
Okay.
You can only get 3 months.
Got you. And I understand. And I have no plans to move. I can't make a deal. I specifically chose this place
so what I'm going
for
to
a
do,
reason, and I'm established in the community 5 years. Upholding 200 hours of my life will be in moving somewhere else. I strategically picked this place, Wheaton, between both my parents' ages. They're both in their around 80 years old, and
unless you can prove that the new letter is retaliatory.
I have that defense is already coming, and it's just going to keep on going.
It's not going to keep on going. At some point, you're going to get evicted because they're not going to renew. So, for example, if they have no communication with you starting today, for the next 6 months, you're not going to be able to stay there. Because retaliatory eviction is only based upon things leading up to 6 months before the letter. So if nothing has happened, let's say we're at October, right? I go back 6 months. If nothing has happened from up to August, what was the name of the new letter?
It wasn't an issue. I didn't bring it, but mid-August.
If nothing has happened by the new company from the time they became the owner until August, you're not going to win that case.
Your Honor, I was not supposed to win this case.
Well, yeah, you were.
And there was people advising it's not going to happen for me.
It's hard to do. It's the first time I've ever granted it, honestly. Because normally I don't. But this was so egregious to me that I granted it for you.
And I appreciate it,
but
Your Honor.
The chances of you getting that again, based upon what you said here today, unlikely. But I don't know. I don't know all the facts for the next thing. I'm just telling you it's unlikely. So here are the options. Y'all can have this discussion, or we can continue the case for a hearing on damages only.
We should have discussion.
Hey, hang on.
Discussion on damages.
Go ahead, have that discussion, and you'll come back. I'm going to give you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We go privately and talk.
Yeah, because we don't have time for a full hearing on damages today about the 3 months.
Right.
So.
And there's other options. I can talk other options with.
Go ahead. Right. That's why I'm giving you this opportunity to have this discussion.
Yes, I appreciate it.
If you all can have that discussion to resolve it today, then we'll be done.
It's not agreeable.
No, I'm saying go into the hallway, have a discussion. At 4:15, I'm going to come back out here and have a discussion with you all. If you have an agreement, great. If you don't have an agreement, then we're going to continue the damages section of this for damages only, because I've already found that it's a retaliatory eviction, to another date.
Thank you,
Okay?
Your Honor. Thank you so much.
All rise.
You may be seated.